12:03 p.m. 8/19/2020. Last video I did was a little frantic because the tape kept cutting out. So it was about the fourth or fifth time that I tried to record that darn thing. And it didn't leave me enough tape card to record what I wanted to record. So I had to condense everything very quickly. So if you notice, my style might have been a little off or a little cambered. That's why. So I want to reiterate today what I was talking about, this bitch tax thing. And I'm saying bitch tax just to make it funny. Just to make it a little bit more palatable and not so serious. Because things in the world are definitely getting serious. I had a business meeting with somebody yesterday. And I've never had a worse business meeting in my life. I mean, this person was so out of it and out of context and out of mental acuity or framework or mental stability that I couldn't believe it. I mean, and I knew it. The funny thing is, after these darn crank-ups and these DNA ICUCs, I knew it before I even met this person. When this person was walking toward me and about 25 feet out, I went, oh no. Oh no. But I had a good indication because I talked to them on the phone prior to the day before. So I had a good indication and metaphysical ability. What's the word that I'm looking for? Validated. So really important on that end, because I was able to know right away before the meeting even took place that, oh no, I don't want to, I don't have any interest in this person. It's not my energy, it's not my platform. And I could do that before the DNA ICUC, but not to the level that I'm doing it at now. And it sort of surprised me because, like I told you guys, I explained to you guys in the last videos, I've been through a lot of stress lately. The last 6-7 months has been, talk about testing Mr. JDP's wherewithal and inner strength characteristics. It's been rough. In any event, I wanted to get back to talking about this bitch tax thing because I'm very serious about it, guys. I'm very serious about it. You know, it's funny, Jay was just talking about being George Washington, and he said, you know, I've got a lot invested in this country. And I said, yeah, I agree with you, because I was there with them. When he was George Washington, I was there with them. I was one of the guys around him. So I was there from the beginning of this country. Darn right. So I've got a fair amount of interest in it as well. That's why I think the way I do. I'm always thinking about how to make things better, how to improve things. And I will voice my opinion. And today, the bitch tax has a very strong relationship with voicing your opinion. I mean, if you have an opinion, someone else has, it's not an opinion. I use the example of a phone call. Let me just pause for a moment. Years ago, you would call someone and they would always call you back. If there was a discrepancy or a disagreement or some type of discussion that had to happen, for whatever reason, they would step up, call you back, have the discussion. Today, for some reason, it seems like everyone takes the easy way out, and if it's too mentally taxing or it's too draining on them, even how minuscule it might be, they just will not call you back. People are in a very bad habit of not calling people back. And since a country is built on communication, I mean, do you think George Washington and I and all the other founding fathers didn't have adequate and ample and significant communications going on? Yes, we did. So that's why I'm such a stickler about communicating. That's why I'm such a stickler about explaining things. That's why I'm such a stickler about the bitch tax here. Because if people are not going to communicate, even on a very, very, very simplistic level, and people have become deaf, dumb, blind, and stupid, and incapable of communicating. Even if it's something extremely small, communication needs to be transferred, even if it's somebody that's a third party making the decision. For example, if I have a business meeting or a business idea that I'm talking about with someone, and for some reason they just don't call me back and I still have questions or concerns, and I can legitimately state that, I should be able to take them to like a mock court. And like I said in the last video, I want a courtroom, or this mock court, on next to every 7-Eleven in America. You know, I've had many discrepancies between, or disagreements between my neighbors or someone in the neighborhood, not that big of a deal, but it would be nice. And one person takes one side, the other person takes another side, and you get into an argument, and the only remedy for that is we'll take them to small claims court. Well, small claims court is a pain in the ass. You got to go way down in the middle of the valley, which is the middle of the city. You got to deal with traffic, you got to file this paperwork, you got to pay all this money, you got to show up at a later date, there has to be a subpoena that's sent out, there has to be a sheriff that serves the person or other agency persona. It's a big deal. It would be easier if there was just a little office right on the corner or a mile away from where you lived where you could just file one single piece of paper. Someone pisses you off, you bring them into court. It's not even a court, it's like a quasi-court. And you remedy it right then and there. And it's very simple. And, you know, obviously the judge, and you don't even need a judge, you need like an attorney or even someone that's going to law school. Fine, that'll do. It's not a big deal. This is less than small claims court. But my aim is to get people's communication going, render the decision so that everybody can move on. Instead of having a grudge and instead of having some type of an impediment, because I've had grudges that have lasted, and not my fault. I just have a tendency to call people out when they act stupid. I don't ignore it. I go for it, like Jay says. Just go for it. And I tend to get in people's faces. You know, not literally, but I tend to bring up discrepancies or disagreements and just call them out on it. So people tend to have grudges over that. But if there was a third party that rendered a decision, that grudge wouldn't continue. It would be squashed. It would be nullified. So what I'm saying is that to get basic adult level communication going again, maybe something like that might be necessary. Just to have a little room next to the 7-Eleven, have an attorney there, even someone that's just getting off of work that has a law firm down the street can show up, render a decision, very simple. You got a disagreement, yada, yada, yada. For example, here's one of the things that happened to me. Guy that lives next to me, his dog, his freaking pit bull, climbs under the fence, digs a hole, goes under the fence, attacks my dog, costs me $1,500, okay, at the vet, okay? I got a big, huge argument with him. It wasn't even worth my time or my energy, the filing fees or anything, to go to small claims court, waste all that time, and it was just a wash. It would just be easier for me to handle it that way. Now, if I was able to go down to the local 7-Eleven / mock courtroom / quasi court, $50, file a little thing, explain it to the judge or the attorney or the law school student. The other parties show up, we squash it right there. Okay, 50-50, pay the bill, $700, $750, $750. Okay, render the decision. But I'll tell you right now, I still have a grudge with that damn neighbor. Pissed me off because what did they do? They walked away from it. They said, "Oh, we don't have any responsibility for it because it's not our dog. I know the dog was in our yard, but it's my granddaughter's boyfriend's dog, and he has to take the responsibility." I even called the insurance companies. The insurance companies balked at it. And they said, "Oh, well, yeah, technically, they're not responsible." I mean, what do you mean they're not responsible? The dog's on their property. It's insane, the bureaucracy and the bullshit that we have to put up with in this country right now. And I'll tell you, one of my quotes that I tell people all the time, I say, you know what, if George Washington was alive today, he'd slap that MFer. Now, the funny thing about it is that I know that Jay's listening to me, and I know that Jay freaking hears me. It's like a little joke that we got on. Because George Washington is alive today. I mean, and he's in Georgia. So that's the funny part. And I'll say that probably the whole time that I'm on this planet. Even after Jay's passed, I'm saying, if George Washington was here today, he'd slap you. If George Washington was here today, he'd drag you to court. If George Washington was here today, he'd be ashamed of how you're treating his country. I mean, just as a joke, And very serious on the other end. But that's what I wanted to explain, this little mock court idea. And I've got 1,000 ideas. Like I was saying, I talk to Jay about this telepathically all the time. I see Jay in Dreamscape. I see Jay in the astral level. Jay's all over. He's in the field, So it's very easy to talk to him, not only in physical body, but I also talk to him in other regards, as you guys are too. You guys do the same thing. I know Frank Zoo does, Stargazer does, yada, 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 Burju, and all these other different people. Oh, funny thing is, I got to get that bottle of beer. I bought a bottle of beer the other night, and I'm going to close on this. I think you guys get the idea about this mock courtroom thing. Okay, I bought this bottle of beer the other night, and it was imported from Lithuania. So I was looking at it, and I said, I'll try this. It's like a 2-quart bottle or something. Not 2-quart, 2-pint bottle. So I was looking at it, I was reading the label stuff. And I look at it, I said, holy shit, it says frickin' Burjou on it. It says Burjou. I'll show you the bottle. I saved the bottle because it got one of those pop-off tops, like a Grolsch, those flip tops that stay on the bottle. Anyhow, I thought it was funny. I like those little things. Every time I see something like that, I say, man, it's Jay cracking a joke. Anyhow. All right, what are we at today? 12:13 p.m. 8/19/2020. Ciao.